Navvar Scott Momate was born on February 27, 1934, in the Kiowa and Comanche Indian Hospital at Lawton, Oklahoma. The hospital was near the old stone corral at Fort Sill, where Momate's ancestors had been imprisoned 61 years earlier, in 1873. Momate's storyteller great-grandfather, P.O.H.D. Locke, the name means Old Wolf in Kiowa, gave him his first Indian name, Tsoatali, or Rock Tree Boy. Momate, in his memoir The Names, 1976, describes how P.O.H.D. Locke passed on the heritage of a Kiowa storyteller to him by telling him the story behind his Indian name. Tsoe, or the Rock Tree, is a great monolith of black igneous rock sacred to the Kiowa that rises out of the Black Hills of Wyoming. Most Americans know of this geological formation by the name Devil's Tower. From an early age, Momate was thoroughly steeped in the Kiowa culture of his father's family. When he was only 6 months old, his father took him to see his namesake, Tsoe. Momate's mother, on the other hand, was 1/8 Cherokee but 7/8 Euro-American, which Momate later said gave him the feeling that he straddled Native American and mainstream American culture. Momate spent his childhood in several different southwestern communities, such as the towns of Gallup and Sheep Rock in New Mexico, and also Tuba City and Chinle in Arizona. In these communities, Momate went to school with a wide mix of children: Navajo, San Carlos Apache, Hispanic, and Anglo. In his memoir, Momate says he grew to love the words of the Navajo, Kiowa, and Apache languages along with the words of the Spanish and English languages. Fittingly, many of the characters in his fiction are modeled from the multicultural experience of his childhood years, making him a pioneer for many other Native American authors such as Leslie Marmon Silko, James Welsh, Gerald Vizenner, Louise Erdrich, and Michael Doris. After studying for a year at a Virginia Military Academy in preparation for college, Momate attended the University of New Mexico, where he earned an undergraduate degree in political science. In the years following, he briefly studied law at the University of Virginia and then went to Stanford University, where he received M.A. and a Ph.D. in English. At Stanford, Momate wrote a critical edition of the poetry of Frederick Goddard Tuckerman under the supervision of the poet and critic Ivor Winters. Momate's work was published by the Oxford University Press in 1965, and he continued to write afterward, turning to poetry and fiction. Momate has won a Guggenheim Fellowship and the Academy of American Poets Prize for his writing, and has also spent considerable time teaching at Berkeley, Stanford, and, most recently, the University of Arizona. In 1969, Momate won the Pulitzer for House Mad of Dawn, a narrative of a young Native American named Abel who is caught between two worlds: his native heritage on the reservation and the industrialized world of contemporary America in Los Angeles. In writing the novel, Momate drew on his own childhood experiences of growing up on reservations through the turbulent era of World War II. His portrayal of Abel describes the difficult experience of many young Native Americans during the 20th century, Indian relocation efforts, the struggle to enter the industrial workforce, the isolation of reservations, and the harmful effects of alcoholism. In House Mad of Dawn, Momate uses a combination of old tales and personal imagination to eloquently pass on the stories his Kiowa fathers told him as a child, a task to which he had felt bound since birth.